I want the Zords to matter. I want them to be the only way you can... Hello there, heroes. I'm the Orange Ranger, and welcome to the last Saban Brands Top 10 Off-Season video. This video is not about a Saban Brands season. This video is about the first Hasbro season, Beast Morphers. However, I still think this video fits here for two reasons. Number one, it just made it a lot easier to write for me to structure this as a top 10 list. Number two, most of the comparisons I came up with constituted comparisons to other seasons. Do this better than Ninja Steel did. Handle that better than Super Megaforce did. So really, this video is kind of the result of a formula that came from analyzing all of the other Saban Brands seasons. Now, for something as simple as a video of what I'd like to see in the next season, you wouldn't think there would need to be disclaimers or explanations of my process, right? Heroes, this is the Orange Ranger we're talking about. Of course there are. I thought about the different categories of my desires for the next season, and I came up with 5. So I came up with 2 each under those categories, and then ranked the list of 10. Not too bad, right? Alright, let's take a look. Number 10, Rangers, an original one. Before you start with your, but that's not realistic, comments, realize that's why I'm placing this at number 10. I really want to see this happen, but it's literally the least important thing on the list. I would say, though, to remember that financial restraints are not nearly the concern that they once were. This is Hasbro we're talking about. If they think that adding an original Ranger will improve the show, and thus improve sales of the toy line, you better believe it's going to happen. No, it doesn't have to be an Orange Ranger. But I mean, hey, that would be a nice apology for picking the only eligible Sentai that didn't have one, right? To be honest with you, I'm not sure how that Go Busters leather would look in orange, but hey, I'm willing to let them try. This idea fits all the more when you consider, and really you can't consider this a spoiler because everything Hasbro has showcased has shown this backed off, Go Busters only has 5 Rangers, so there's room for another one. In general, I want this because it's always exciting to see something completely brand new, something that you can't expect from the Sentai footage. Speaking of, number 9, Zords, original footage. I remember back during Dino Charge that some set photos leaked of the Dino Charge Megazord suit being filmed in some kind of original footage. We all got super psyched that Dino Charge might actually have original Zord footage. As it turned out, if I recall right, it was just for a commercial, but still, original Zord footage is awesome. It's something that lets you actually change the story. You can have some of the Zords get destroyed. You can have them fight monsters that they didn't fight before. You can include original monsters, period. Number 8, Zords, plot relevance. This may be a minor note, but I feel like it's just been something that's been really lacking lately. Has anybody noticed that during the entire Saban Brands era, the Zords really felt like a complete afterthought? Dino Charge had a couple episodes that sort of centered around the Zords, but just in general, I mean, I can't really remember an episode of Ninja Steel that felt like it centered around the Zords, you know, besides, wow, the MacGuffin crystal just hawked out another Zord star, yay. I want the Zords to matter. I want them to be the only way you can destroy a monster, or a droid in this case, I guess. From the Go Busters footage, we know that it's very likely that the Rangers' Beast Bots are going to help them pilot the Zords. I'd really like it if we had a situation where, like, the Beast Bots saw the Zords as their true bodies, and thus their way of contributing to the battle. It would make the Zords really important to them and to the Rangers, and thus important to us. Number 7, side characters, plot relevance. Sensing a theme? So obviously this is a direct response to the characters of Victor and Monty from Ninja Steel. Various actors on the show said that as the story of Ninja Steel went on, Victor and Monty would come to matter more. I don't want to say that those actors were lying. It's possible that they were just misinformed. Two literal clowns destroying two side villains with random bombs the villains gave them right at the end of the story does not constitute mattering. That doesn't mean that the side characters in Beast Morphers can't tell jokes, be funny, lighthearted, now and then. Heck, you can even make them comedic characters overall. I just want them to have things to do, a reason to matter, a reason to exist. I don't want to roll my eyes when we get an episode of the show that actually focuses on them. Number 6, writing. A strong ending. Once again, this is pretty much directly don't do what Ninja Steel did. The only interesting thing about the way Ninja Steel ends is how infuriatingly boring it was. Other Saban Brands seasons did it better. Super Samurai, a failed battle with the big bad, mounting up their courage, a long drag-out battle that ends with the Rangers just barely winning through. That's the kind of ending I want. Number 5, villains, a scary and menacing Evox. For those of you that are unaware, the main villain of Beast Morphers is Evox, a virus that looks like a snake, a king cobra to be specific, and that's actually fine. For most of RPM, the main villain was Venjix, a paper towel tube with a red sequin stuck to it. And it was fine, because Venjix was scary. He had a deep, menacing voice. And his reach and intimidation of the other characters reflected far more than just his appearance. Compared to Venjix to Galvanax, a scarier looking character with horns and sharp edges and just a big intimidating size, but isn't scary at all because nobody was scared of him and he accomplished nothing. An important thing about writing the main villain in a Power Ranger season is to make them menacing enough that when we watch the show, we feel like it's possible that they could win at any time, even outside of our suspension of disbelief, knowing that the Rangers are the good guys, so really they're gonna win. Number 4, side characters, reduced comedy. When I was writing this script, I actually started to drift into this note for the first side characters thing and had to pull myself back from it. But yes, you shouldn't just have side characters in a show to be your comedic relief. And now I know what you're thinking, that I think the side characters shouldn't be funny at all. Quite the opposite, actually. Spread your comic relief across the board. There should be points where the Rangers are funny. There should be points where the villains are funny. None of the characters on the show should only exist for laughs. You know, like Victor and Monty. Number 3, villains, humans with meaningful arcs. Full disclosure here, I actually wrote the script for this video when I wrote all of the other top 10 Saban Brands off-season videos. I just pushed it back filming a lot later because the show came out a lot later than we thought it was going to. So while at the time of writing, I knew that we had casting and set photos that said we were going to have human villains, we've since found out that those human villains are going to be Blaze and Roxy, and quite possibly were once former Beast Morpher Rangers, Red and Yellow. Those of you who have seen the Go Busters footage are also aware that these two are very likely going to be based on the Go Busters villains Enter and Escape, who were truly amazing, excellent characters. That doesn't mean they're going to be the same characters in Beast Morphers. Power Rangers and Sentai are different, remember that. I'm just saying that the footage and the story you're adapting gives you a lot of great material for those two to work with. There were very few human villains during the Saban Brands era, and of the ones that we got, I can only really think of Samurai's Decker and Dino Charge's Heckle, who have very similar names, come to think of it. They were actually monsters that could just assume a human form. They weren't actually human. But I still loved both of those characters because they were deep and complex. You could never really pin down their motivations from time to time. It feels to me like the two human villains this time around could really be played for laughs, just as inept henchmen of the main menacing villain. They kind of did this in RPM, but that's not what I want here. In reality, especially in a case like this where your main villain is intangible, at least at first, these henchmen need to be the villain's hands and feet, and just as invested in the battle to take over the world. Well, here we are in the final two, and since you don't actually know the contenders this time around, I will tell you that one of them involves the Rangers, and one of them involves the writing. Which of the two is more important to me for a strong Power Ranger season? Let's find out. Number 2, Rangers. Strong story for all, not just Red Daddy issues. Red Samurai Ranger Jaden struggled under the weight of his father's legacy, the previous Samurai Red Ranger who died to set Master Xandred back. Megaforce Red Ranger Troy didn't really have a father, but he was intended to. A military man who dumped him in Harwood County to live with an uncle and told him to only trust himself. Red Dino Charge Ranger Tyler grew up with a missing father who he spent most of the first season trying to find, and then even when he found him, he barely stuck around. Red Ninja Steel Ranger Brody also grew up with a missing father, although in this case he was presumed to be dead after fighting Galvanax to defend the Ninja Nexus Prism. Deja vu, I've just been in this place before. Taken on their own, all of those are actually deep and fairly interesting. Back to back to back to back, they are just far too similar. Enough of the Red Ranger with the father issues. Now, fortunately, we seem to be avoiding the missing Red Ranger dad story, as we have found out that Devon's father is going to be the mayor of the city they are in, so at least he's around. But I'm still just really hoping that they just have a strong relationship. You can have an episode or two where maybe they don't see eye to eye, and that's a Red Ranger focus, but just overall, I hope things are good with them, and we get some other issues with Devon. Maybe he lacks a sense of direction in his life. Maybe he has mother issues. Another big issue with the whole Red Ranger daddy issue thing is that it takes focus away from the other Rangers. Let's get interesting and deep backstories for them as well. I would really like Beast Morphers to follow the formula that was set by RPM. We know we're going to get focus stories on all of these characters early on in the show as we learn about them. Use those to tell us those Rangers' backstories. What caused them to become a Ranger? What are they scared of? What do they want? Etc. Spread your backstory around. Red, yes, is the primarily focused on Ranger on the show. That doesn't mean they have to be the main character. Jackrabbit Swords. Number 1. Writing. Deep, complex plot overall. You might consider this cheating a little bit, one step above saying, I want it to be good. Pretty much all the other notes on this list point at a show with deep, complex, good writing. It's just that Saban Brands Era Power Ranger seems to have been allergic to the idea of writing more complex than Barney the Dinosaur. There's no complexity in the past 8 years of Power Rangers, besides Hyperforce, which was on a different medium altogether, and I just miss it so much. After 2 years, the last 2 seasons, of plot with the depth of a teaspoon, I really need Beast Morphers to have a plot that matters. It's kind of hard for me to explain what I even really mean by this. It's not like I want the Rangers to lose every single fight, or even to be in danger of losing every single fight. I do think the stakes are involved. The Rangers need to feel truly necessary, like the world would really be in danger if they weren't around fighting the bad guys. I think it would help if we felt like this was putting some weight on the Rangers' lives. This isn't as easy as just going to high school. And that wraps it up. Next time, we finally get into this amazing new show, Beast Morphers, and see if it really is amazing. See the tone that's going to await us. Let's take a peek at the first episode of Power Rangers Beast Morphers, Beasts Unleashed. Scientists tap into the morphing grid, but an evil virus corrupts the technology, and a new team of Power Rangers is formed to defend the grid from evil. And that is going to wrap up the Saban Brands Top 10 off-season. Thank you, heroes, for sticking with this channel during the off-season without new episodes to review, and especially for voting in all of these top 10s. Make sure to like the video by clicking that thumbs up button right down below, and while you're down there, leave a comment and let me know your biggest hope for the first episode in particular. What's the one thing you want to see in the first episode of Beast Morphers? For me, I'll say, let's get to the Zords right away. I have a feeling the Megazord might be episode 2 or 3, but even just the Red Zord, let's just throw them out there early. Let's get the sense of the scale of everything with the Zords and all that going on. Let me know what you want to see down in the comments below. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel to see all of my videos and ring that bell. Get your notifications set up so you get notified when I start posting Power Rangers Beast Morphers episode reviews. And if you'd like to support this channel in any way financially, there are two ways that you can do so. Head over to ko-fi.com/OrangeRangerVideos. You can get me a coffee that's set at $3 a piece. I'd greatly appreciate that. To donate less or a different amount, head over to digitaltipjar.com/OrangeRangerVid. Toss some change in my tip jar, and I appreciate anything that lands inside. Until next time, heroes, may the power protect you. Hello there, heroes. I'm the Orange Ranger, and welcome to the last Top 10 Saban Brands Off-Season video. I'm loving it. Hello there, heroes. I'm the Orange Ranger, and welcome to another the last. So really, this video is actually kind of the result of a formula that honestly, I'm not exactly sure how that orange, because the show came out a lot later than we thought we did. Whom he watched fight Galvanax as a child and was presumably destroyed when the Ninja Nexus prism. But the Saban Brands Era of Power Rangers just seems to be absolutely allergic to the idea of yeah. Scientists tap into the power of